My biracial relationship isn't accepted by our families, and now our grandparents are trying to break us apart. Hey Reddit, I'm back, and things have gotten even more complicated. I really need some advice or support because our situation is getting out of control, and I feel like we're drowning in family drama. Let me give you all a deeper dive into how our grandparents are affecting our lives and trying to break us apart. I'm Matt, a 28-year-old white guy, and I'm engaged to Leah, who is 27 and black. We've been together for 3 years, and I've never been more certain about someone. Leah is my best friend, my partner in every way. We've been through so much together, and when I proposed earlier this year, I thought our love would be enough to overcome anything. But as many of you may know, love doesn't always make everything easier, especially when your families aren't on board. Since the beginning, both of our families have had serious reservations about our relationship, and it's been a constant battle for acceptance. But recently, the pressure has gone from subtle disapproval to an outright campaign against our relationship, largely led by our grandparents. When we first introduced each other to our families, it wasn't exactly smooth. My parents were polite to Leah but distant. You could feel the tension in the air at every family dinner, especially when conversations would drift toward more delicate topics like race or culture. My mom would make comments about how Leah and I come from different worlds, and how it might be hard to bridge that gap. It felt like code for, "I'm not okay with this." Leah's family, on the other hand, has always been proud of their black heritage. When I came into the picture, her mom was skeptical. She wasn't rude, but there was always this underlying sense that I wasn't part of their community, and that Leah deserved someone who understood her experience. It's a valid concern, but I've done everything I can to educate myself and be the best partner possible to Leah. Still, I often felt like I was walking on eggshells around them. But as uncomfortable as our parents' disapproval was, things took a much darker turn when our grandparents decided to step in. My grandma, Edith, is in her late 80s, and she's as old school as they come. She spent her entire life in a small, predominantly white town, surrounded by people who think like she does. She's always been the type of person who prides herself on family values, which, in her mind, means everyone's staying in their lane, racially, culturally, and socially. When I first told her about Leah, she wasn't outwardly hostile. Instead, she gave me this cold, condescending smile and said things like, "Oh, well, I hope you know what you're getting into." At the time, I brushed it off as her being from a different generation. But when Leah and I announced our engagement, Edith's true feelings came out. She wrote me a letter filled with racist undertones, talking about how I was throwing away my heritage and how mixed children don't belong anywhere. It was disgusting. She went on to warn me about the difficulties that biracial couples face, how society would never fully accept us, and how our future children would struggle because they wouldn't fit in. But it didn't stop there. Edith didn't just disapprove. She started actively trying to sabotage our relationship. She's been sending me articles from outdated, far-right websites about the failure rates of interracial marriages. Every time I visit her, she drops hints about nice girls from her church that she'd love to introduce me to. Recently, she took it a step further. Without telling me, she invited one of these so-called nice girls to a family dinner. This girl, let's call her Emma, showed up expecting it to be a date. I was blindsided, and when I confronted my grandmother afterward, she didn't even deny it. She said she was just trying to help me see reason before it's too late. It was infuriating, and I haven't spoken to her much since, but she keeps finding ways to interfere. On Leah's side, her grandmother, Rosa, has always been the matriarch of their family. Rosa is proud of her heritage, deeply involved in their community, and holds strong opinions about what she thinks is best for her family. First, Rosa seemed okay with me. She was welcoming, though a bit formal, and didn't say much about Leah and me being together. But once we got engaged, Rosa's attitude shifted dramatically. She pulled Leah aside at a family barbecue and told her that by marrying a white man, she was turning her back on her people. She said Leah was betraying the sacrifices their ancestors made and that she was setting a bad example for future generations. According to Rosa, our relationship was a disrespect to their history. the pressure from her grandmother has been intense. Rosa has been pushing Leah toward an old family friend named Marcus, a guy Leah grew up with who's now a successful lawyer. Apparently, Rosa has been talking him up to Leah, saying things like, he understands what it means to be black in America, and he can give you a better life. Leah is heartbroken by this. She was always close to her grandmother, and hearing her say these things has been like a knife to the heart. It's especially hard because Rosa isn't being subtle about her disapproval. She's invited Marcus to multiple family gatherings, even seating him next to Leah at family dinners, trying to create an opportunity for them to reconnect. Leah's had to shut it down over and over, but the constant pressure is wearing her down. What started as passive disapproval has now become full-scale sabotage from both sides. Edith is still sending me articles and even tried to accidentally introduce me to another woman from her church, while Rosa is almost treating Marcus like Leah's future husband, even though Leah has made it clear she's not interested. To make matters worse, my grandma recently made a backhanded comment about how our wedding probably won't last anyway, and that I should save myself the trouble and call it off. Couldn't believe it. Leah overheard part of the conversation, and it's led to some really difficult discussions between us. She feels like my family's constant interference is taking a toll on our relationship, and I'm worried that all of this might start to chip away at what we've built together. Leah and I have had a lot of late-night conversations about what to do. We're both hurt, tired, and emotionally exhausted from constantly having to defend our relationship to our families. It's hard to plan a wedding when we're not even sure who will support us on our big day. Leah's been considering going low contact with her grandmother, which is a painful decision for her because they used to be so close. We've even talked about cutting ties with some family members altogether, but it's a hard line to draw. I love my grandma despite her ignorance, but I don't know how much more I can take. Leah feels the same about her grandmother, but the pressure from Rosa is causing her to second-guess everything. So here we are, Reddit. We love each other, but we're at a crossroads. How do we stay strong in the face of all this family drama? Should we distance ourselves from the people trying to sabotage our relationship, or is there a way to get them to understand? Has anyone else been in a similar situation, and how did you deal with it? We're tired of feeling like we have to choose between our families and our love for each other. Any advice or shared experiences would mean the world to us right now. Thanks for reading. New update. Hey Reddit, thanks for all the advice everyone provided. It really helped me look at things from a different perspective. It's been a few months since I last posted about the ongoing issues Leah and I have been facing with our families, especially our grandparents, and I wanted to give you all an update. A lot has happened, and while things aren't perfect, I feel like we've made some important steps forward. The biggest development is that Leah and I decided to set some firm boundaries with our grandparents. After their relentless attempts to break us apart, we realized we couldn't keep letting them interfere in our relationship. I had a very difficult conversation with my grandma, Edith. I told her that her constant disapproval, racist undertones, and attempts to set me up with other women were damaging my relationship with her. I explained that I loved Leah and that nothing she could do would change that. It was hard and she didn't take it well. Edith got defensive and accused me of turning my back on family traditions. She doubled down on her outdated beliefs and refused to see Leah as part of our family. That was when I told her we needed to take a step back and limit contact until she could respect my relationship. It was painful, but it was necessary. On Leah's side, she had a similar conversation with her grandmother, Rosa. Rosa was just as stubborn as Edith, insisting that Leah was betraying her heritage and pushing harder than ever for Leah to consider a relationship with Marcus, the family friend she's been trying to set her up with. Leah calmly told her grandmother that if she couldn't support our relationship, we'd have to limit our interactions with her too. Rosa was furious, and things have been tense ever since, but Leah is standing strong. One of the biggest positives from all of this is that Leah and I have grown even closer. These last few months have been tough, but facing this opposition together has made us more committed to each other. We've had countless late-night talks about how to handle the pressure and what kind of future we want to build. We even went to a few couples therapy sessions, which really helped us work through some of the stress and learn how to be a better support system for each other. Leah has been amazing throughout all of this. I know it's been especially hard for her because she was so close to her grandmother growing up, but she's remained firm in her decision to prioritize our relationship. We've also talked about how to manage the long-term emotional toll of this, and I'm really proud of how we've handled everything together. Leah and I made the difficult decision to downsize our wedding plans. Originally, we had envisioned a big celebration with all our family and friends, but given the ongoing drama, we decided to go with something more intimate. We're planning a small ceremony with only our closest friends and the few family members who have supported us from the start. It's sad to think that some of our family won't be there, but we realized that our wedding day should be about celebrating our love, not trying to please people who refuse to accept it. We've talked about hosting a larger celebration down the line, but for now, we just want a peaceful, joyful day with the people who truly care about us. Unfortunately, despite the boundaries we set, our grandparents haven't completely given up their efforts to sabotage our relationship. Edith has been spreading rumors among our extended family, painting Leah as the reason we're pulling away from the family, and making it seem like I'm being manipulated. It's frustrating because now I'm fielding calls from relatives who have only heard her side of the story. Leah's grandmother, Rosa, has been trying to guilt her into reconsidering the engagement. She sent Leah a long letter about how marriage is forever, and that she should be with someone who truly understands her culture. She even brought up old family traditions and implied that marrying me was a betrayal to their ancestors. Leah didn't respond to the letter, and we've both agreed that for now, it's best to continue limiting contact. One thing that has been a saving grace for us is the incredible support we've received from our friends and some members of our families. My younger sister has been amazing, and she's been in our corner from day one. She's helped me handle the emotional fallout with our parents and grandparents, and it's comforting to know we're not completely alone in this. Leah's brother has also been super supportive, and he stood up for us to their family more times than I can count. Our friends have been our rock through all of this. We've had long talks with them, vented our frustrations, and even had a few fun nights out to take our minds off everything. It's made us realize that sometimes the family you choose is just as important, if not more so, than the family you're born into. Despite the challenges, Leah and I are optimistic about the future. We've decided to focus on building the life we want, rather than dwelling on the negativity from our families. We've started looking for a house together, and we're excited to take that next step. Feels like a fresh start, something that's ours, away from all the drama. We've also been talking about what kind of future we want to create for our family, what values we'll instill in our children, how we'll navigate any challenges they might face being biracial, and how we'll create a home filled with love and acceptance. Just last week, something unexpected happened. My grandmother, Edith, reached out to me. She called out of the blue, saying she wanted to talk. I wasn't sure what to expect, but she said she's been reflecting on our conversation from months ago. She admitted that while she still has her reservations, she misses me and wants to find a way to understand. I'm cautious. I don't know if this is genuine growth or if she's just feeling lonely now that I've pulled back. But Leah and I agreed that if Edith is willing to make an effort, we'll give her a chance, under the condition that she respects our relationship moving forward. I don't know where this will go, but it's a small glimmer of hope. So that's where we are now, Reddit. We're still dealing with the fallout from both sides of our families, but we're stronger than ever. The boundaries we've set have helped, and although it's hard to distance ourselves from people we love, we know it's necessary for our own well-being. Leah and I are committed to each other, and we're choosing to focus on the positive. Our wedding might not be the huge celebration we once envisioned, but it's going to be full of love, and that's what really matters. Thanks again for all the advice and support from my last post. It's helped us so much, and I'll keep you all updated as things continue to evolve. Unexpected update number 2. Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be back with this kind of update, but things have taken a completely unexpected turn. Just when Leah and I thought we were moving forward, something happened that has us both reeling, and not in a good way. So, remember how I mentioned that my grandma Edith reached out, saying she wanted to talk and maybe try to understand our relationship? Well, we agreed to meet with her for coffee. At first, the conversation was surprisingly pleasant. She didn't bring up any of her usual criticisms, and for a moment, it almost felt like she was genuinely trying to make peace. But halfway through the meeting, Edith dropped a bombshell. She started crying, something I've never seen her do in my entire life, and began talking about how she's not going to be around forever and how she's worried about what will happen to our family after she's gone. I felt my guard go down because, despite everything, she's still my grandma, and seeing her like that was hard. Then she said something that caught both Leah and me off guard. She revealed that she'd been talking to a lawyer about dividing her estate, and she was considering disinheriting me if I went through with the marriage to Leah. According to her, marrying outside of my heritage would be betraying family values, and she couldn't support that financially. She made it clear that if I stayed with Leah, she would leave everything to my cousins instead. Leah was furious, and honestly, I was too. I realized then that this whole change of heart was just another manipulation tactic. Edith was dangling the family inheritance as a way to control me, hoping I'd choose money over love. I stood up, told her I wouldn't be blackmailed, and walked out with Leah. It was a gut-wrenching moment, but I knew we had made the right choice. While we were dealing with the fallout from my side of the family, things took an even more unexpected turn on Leah's side. Her grandmother, Rosa, has been unusually quiet for the past few weeks. We thought she had finally accepted that Leah wasn't going to leave me for Marcus or anyone else. But it turns out she wasn't quiet because she accepted us. She was quiet because she was scheming. Leah's cousin, who's always been on our side, recently told us that Rosa has been secretly meeting with Marcus and his family. She was trying to arrange a kind of reconciliation dinner between Marcus and Leah. But here's the kicker. Rosa didn't tell Leah about this at all. She was planning to ambush her by inviting us to a family dinner, where Marcus would conveniently show up to rekindle their connection. Leah's cousin overheard Rosa on the phone, telling Marcus that she just had to get Leah in the same room, and she was sure Leah would come to her senses. Leah was furious when she found out. She immediately called Rosa to confront her, but Rosa just brushed it off, saying she was only doing what she thought was best for the family. It was another heartbreaking moment for Leah, who had been trying so hard to maintain some kind of relationship with her grandmother despite everything. Now, this part is the craziest twist yet, something we never saw coming. After Leah confronted Rosa about the ambush dinner, Rosa let something slip that has us completely floored. Apparently, my grandma Edith and Leah's grandma Rosa have been talking to each other behind our backs. We don't know exactly how long this has been going on, but according to Rosa, they've been comparing notes and coming up with plans to try and break us up. That's right, our grandmothers, who don't even live in the same state, have been secretly working together, conspiring to end our relationship. Rosa made a comment about how Edith is a woman of her word and how they both want the best for us. Leah and I were stunned. We knew they disapproved, but the fact that they've been coordinating their efforts was something we never expected. It explains so much: the timing of their manipulations, the pressure from both sides, the relentless attempts to set us up with other people. We now realize that this wasn't just family drama. It was a full-on coordinated effort to tear us apart. This latest revelation has left Leah and me feeling a mix of betrayal, anger, and sadness. We're still processing everything, but we've already made one decision. We're going to completely cut ties with both grandmothers for the foreseeable future. It's not something we want to do, but after everything, we can't trust them anymore. Their toxic behavior has gone too far, and we need to protect our relationship from their manipulation. We're also considering going no contact with anyone else in the family who sides with them. It's going to be hard, but we can't keep fighting this battle when it's clear they'll never accept us. Despite all this craziness, there is one silver lining. Leah and I have never been more united. These attempts to sabotage our relationship have only made us more determined to stay together and prove everyone wrong. We're even more excited about our future. Moving into our new house, planning the wedding, and building the life we've always wanted. We've also learned something important. Sometimes, family isn't about blood, but about the people who truly support and love you. Our chosen family, our friends, siblings, and those who have stood by us, have shown us what real love and acceptance look like. Thanks again for all the support, Reddit. It's been a roller coaster, but we're not letting anyone tear us apart. I'll keep you all updated if anything else happens. But for now, we're focusing on our future together.